Starting off this little update with a look at some of my daffodils. It has been a very slow spring here. The daffodils are probably at their prime right now, but as you can see, the tulips are just starting to show color. Well, there is my big hoop hose. It's UV protected greenhouse plastic that's on it. But still, that stuff only lasts for 4 or 5 years. I can't remember if it was 4 or maybe 5 years ago that I replaced it the last time. This will only be the second time it's ever been replaced. But we didn't have a severe winter, no big great storms or heavy wind or anything, but it just falls apart after so much time with the sun shining on it. And it's not that expensive to replace it. I think the piece that I bought for replacement was something like $77, and that included, well, I have Prime, so they claim I don't pay shipping, but shipping is included in the price, in my opinion. And also that was tax and everything included. So for $77, I can replace it. You'll notice how the top, though, is kind of sway back down in the middle. Well, that was from a very bad winter about 10 years ago that bent the upper frames. It works as well as it ever did. It just doesn't look as nice, but I'll show you what it looks like whenever I get around to putting the new plastic on. Got to wait for that snow to melt, for one thing. It slides down off the roof and piles up there. We don't have much snow anywhere else on the property, but plenty of it right there, obviously. Well, such as it is, there it is, I guess. What an ordeal this has been. I ordered the plastic from a different company to avoid the Trump tariffs for getting things into Canada from the U.S. It all came from Georgia, I think, originally. But the company, I don't know, they gave me some formula how I could figure out how I could figure out how much to order. But what I ordered didn't do at all. So what I did was order a second piece, the same size. And as you can see there, it's doubled over the top, which really isn't a bad idea. That's where it would get most of the winter weight from snow or whatever. But it is loose, it is baggy, it is the worst mess I've ever made of my greenhouse, but I don't think the plants will mind. We hope not anyway. And as you can see in through there, it has not been cleaned out yet inside. There's a lot of plastic junk in there, things that you save that you think you might need sometime, pots and whatever. Well, after 2 or 3 summers in the summer heat, they're just brittle plastic. Got to go into garbage bags soon, and then I haven't done a cleanup in there since last fall either, but I won't be needing it for another couple of weeks yet. So there it is. The outdoor garden tour, looking at these raised beds that are in front of my house. This one was new this year, and it's all ready for my onions. They won't be going out for another couple of weeks yet, probably, but I'm going to try my onions in that one. Next to it is this bed, which is also new this year. I put it together last fall, and when I was emptying out a number of those large 10-gallon fabric pots, I put the material in there. And this spring I have added the organic pro-mix and organic compost and composted manure. And it's got my potatoes planted in it right now. nothing up yet. We've had such cold, wet weather. I hope they don't rot. But hopefully we'll get some sunshine and the weather will improve one of these days. But I'm trying to do the Ruth Stout method here. I've done it for a number of years up at the community garden, and I really like it. Great success. You don't have to water as often. It keeps better control of the weeds, all of that good stuff. And this one was used last year for various vegetables. Once again, I've covered it with straw, and before I put the straw down, I put down a layer of the composted manure and organic compost and the organic bro mix, and then I covered it up with a good layer of the chopped straw. It's going to be for mostly my squash this summer. I'm growing two varieties, an acorn variety of acorn squash and red curry squash. The seedlings you'll see in a minute inside the small greenhouse here. Doing quite well, but they won't be going out for 2 to 3 weeks yet. They might not have any frost, they might not destroy them, but plants just don't really do anything if you put them out too early. They do not like the cold weather. Now this, mostly right now, I guess, has peas growing in it. If I can zoom in on that one. Those are a variety that I got from Vessi Seeds, and they're coming up and they will be fine, I'm sure. But what I want to show you is a pot of seeds. I do have the seed packet in that pot, so I can give you the name. Came up earlier than these, and they're growing so much better. Now, this variety is called Champion of England. Seeds that I bought from the wildflower people that I've bought a number of perennial wildflower seeds from. And as I said, they came through the ground so much faster. They've already got the first 2 or 3 sets of leaves on them. So certainly they're going to be the earliest producer here, I guess. I'll do a few close-ups of some of the things that are growing in this bed. But right now, my watermelon radish are up, and the multiplier shallots are mostly all got green growth on them. And further down, I had planted parsnips, and they came up like 2 weeks ago. At the very end down there is garlic, of course put in last fall, and it's up and doing okay. There's also carrots and a variety of mustard greens, and they're up, but the seedlings at this point are so small I don't know if I can show them to you or not, but we'll give it a try. This is some of the watermelon radish and the multiplier shallots. I put the radish right in quite close with the shallots because, well, I think it said 50 days to harvest. That's about what it normally is. So I will have to have the harvesting of the watermelon radish to let the multiplier shallots carry on a little later on here. That's the 2 short rows of parsnips. And they were in, I don't remember the exact date now, but parsnips germinate much better if the soil is cool rather than warm. A lot of plants wait for warm soil to germinate, but the parsnips really enjoy some cool soil in the spring, and they came up, I don't know, within a week of planting them. Most of them were up. This is my little garlic patch. I don't really recall the name. I think it might have been something like Russian Red or something like that. But anyway, ordered online, and when they arrived, it was 2 tiny heads of garlic. And they always tell you to save your largest heads and plant your largest cloves to get a good harvest. So I don't know what I'll expect under these when it comes time to pull them up. They were tiny when I planted them last fall, and they made it through the winter anyway. I guess those are showing up at the end of the row. That's some of the carrots starting to come up. Planted the same day as the parsnips, but they take longer to germinate. And those little things are the mustard greens. It was called Tokyo something or other. It was a free packet of seed from Annapolis Seeds. When you place an order with them, they always include something free. And they're supposed to be mild. I hope so. I've grown mustard before that was supposed to be mild and couldn't be eaten. It was so hot, but time will tell anyway. That's a little look inside of my tiny greenhouse, the new one that I put up this spring or late winter, whatever it was. Some of the things you see on the floor there with the dahlia and the geraniums and the other box with herbs and vegetables, and those came from a garden center. The car ferry has been put on a month early here, thanks to the New Brunswick government. They have subsidized it for 30 days, $186,000 to get it to come on a month early. Plus the $186,000, they are charging us full price in both directions. It costs $25 for car and driver and $5 for each additional passenger. And I've done my complaining. Whether it would do any good or not, I don't know. That's crazy that my tax dollars putting that much money into it and I still have to pay top price. Anyway, I will take you in there and we'll look at some of the things a little closer. Now, those are 6 pots of various kinds of perennials that I winter sowed. And if there's a weed that's common to all of them, I pull it out. But I really don't understand what some of the other things might be. I don't dare pull them out because they may be what I planted. So I'll let them go until I can determine what they are, I guess, before I do any more thinning. The mammoth Russian red cabbages, 6 plants, 2 on the end of each shelf there. They were started way too early. I paid attention to the seed packet or to something that I saw online to start your cabbage. I think it was around the 1st of March. Well, I think the 1st of April would have been adequate. But they can withstand cold temperature. Another week or so, and I will probably put some of those out, but I won't be keeping all of them anyway. Some of them will be given away to friends. These are my onions. The variety is Talon, Talon, I think. Seed from Bessie's. I grew the same ones last year. I am still using them. They're still in great shape, hanging up in these nylon things that I bought to put them in from a beam in the basement, and they're still looking very good. I do not recall them growing as well as this last year under lights in the house. They've been out here now for probably a week. Another week or two, I will probably put them out in that bed that I showed you earlier. But I don't remember them bulbing up like that last year. I'm very, very impressed with them. These are my squash and cucumbers. I already gave you the 2 kinds of squash, red curry and a variety of acorn squash. And the cucumbers in the back row there are quarantine. Wonderful. They parthenocarpic, every blossom is female, and it doesn't require any pollination in order to produce a cucumber. So I've got 6 of each planted. You might see some 2 or 3 pots in there that don't have anything in them. In the squash rows, I guess. They were reseeded just a couple of days ago, so hopefully they'll come up soon. Up on the top shelf are sunflowers, and I got a fairly good germination in the giant Russian ones. Those are the larger plants that you see there. The other ones are a shorter variety, and I think have multiple blossoms on each one. And they're called Sonia, or I don't know how you pronounce it, Sonja. They were a pretty thing, but they didn't germinate as well, and the pots that didn't germinate at all have been reseeded. A little look around at what's growing under the lights in the greenhouse, in the grow room here upstairs, a spare bedroom. I have shut the weird pink lights off, so hopefully there's enough ambient light and the ceiling light in here. These are the peppers that I'm growing. I have a sweet pepper. It's just called Big Red. I have a poblano, hot peppers. Habanero Caribbean Red, another hot pepper. And I have 2 varieties of jalapeno. One called Tam, seeds that were given to me this spring. Thank you, Sandra, by the way, if you're watching. She also gave me the habaneros. And then I have a second kind of jalapeno that I grew last year. They were just called a mild jalapeno, early mild jalapeno. And I really like them, so I'm growing them as well. Next over here is celery. The variety is called Hudson. I've never grown celery before. When you get down to show you the lower level here, I'm also growing a thing that's called cutting leaf celery. And I have grown that before. At this particular stage, I'm glad I've labeled the pots because I can't tell one from the other. The cutting leaf celery you use like an herb, similar to parsley, only it has a really good celery flavor. You can chop up the stems and the leaves and use it wherever you would use parsley in a salad or cooking in a soup or whatever. But these are the first time I've ever grown celery plants, and so far so good. Well, next to the last thing on this level, I guess, is my romaine lettuce. It's supposed to be a red-leafed romaine lettuce called Rouge d'Hiver, red of winter. It's going along quite nicely. I'm scared to put it outside because I suspect it's tender to the cold nights, so we'll grow it on until it's warm enough, I think. It has been a very backward spring here. Not any great amount of frost or anything, but oh dear. Cloudy weather and rain, lots of it. Hiding in the back, those are leeks. London Broad leeks, I think they're called. And well, they weren't started as early as the onions, and quite a bit later, maybe a month later even. So, but it's a 12-pack of them, so I should have some leeks out of it, hopefully. I haven't grown leeks in a number of years now. And this is the cutting leaf celery. I see very little difference in the plants. The regular celery was going to produce the celery stalks, hopefully, and the cutting leaf celery just for the leaves and the stems or whatever for flavorings. But it'd be interesting to grow them side by side and see what they're like. Last but not least, my tomatoes. I'm growing 3 varieties. One is the Gardener's Sweetheart, a cherry tomato, heart-shaped. This is my 3rd or 4th year I saved my own seeds. They're an heirloom variety. I guess all the things that I'm growing are heirloom varieties, but the other 2 ones are seeds, packets that I bought. A yellow brandywine and a San Marzano paste, Italian paste tomato. I've grown those before. I haven't grown the yellow brandywine. I think years ago I grew a red brandywine, but I thought it would be interesting to try those this summer anyway. Well, I think that concludes this little update. If you're still there, haven't gone to sleep yet, thank you very much for watching.